So I had read many personal development books written by successful entrepreneurs back in the 80s and 90s that talked about the importance of handwriting thank you notes. And I had stopped doing it. I did it for years. And so when I heard about send out cards for the first time, I thought to myself, that's something that I could do to get to be able to send thank you cards when people did nice things for me. My mother used to teach, my mother taught me to do that. So I started getting cards in the mail from a guy I didn't know. I got 5 cards from him over a period of a couple weeks, and a couple of the cards had DVDs in them. And this was, you know, today we can send Cody's book, The Power of Human Connection. We can send that for 2 cents plus shipping. Well, back then, we were using DVDs, and Send Out Cards allowed us to send that DVD that explained Send Out Cards in a card for free. So I received 2 of these DVDs, and I put it in, and in the DVD, it said that you could jump on your computer, you could pick a card, type in a personal message. The company would print it, stuff it in an envelope, seal it, stamp it, and send it for you for about $1. And that was back then. And I thought, this is like a dream come true. Now, keep in mind, at this point, I had never sent a text message other than on a pager type thing, not on a phone. There was no social media. I think I was on MySpace, but I wasn't using it. There was no Facebook at this time. And then you couldn't do all the fancy stuff with the pictures, but just the ability to jump on a computer, pick a card, type in a message, hit send, and you're done. That got me really excited. Hi, Mike Towers. Good to see you. That got me really excited. And so I signed up to use Send Out Cards, not to build it. And that same week, I was invited to the smallest BNI meeting. I'd never heard of BNI. And I was invited to the smallest BNI meeting in the United States, which was in Scottsdale, Arizona. There were 12 members. And when I got there, I wasn't building Send Out Cards, but when they went around the room and they got to me, because I was between companies, I just went and I explained what Send Out Cards was in 30 seconds. You know, you jump on your computer, you can type a message, you know, hit the send button, blah, 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 put it in, they'd ship it for you, all that stuff. And what happened was half the people in the room, out of the 12, half of them came over to me and handed me their business card and said, I want to know more about that. And I had never seen anything in my life where half of a group was interested in anything. And so I got excited about that and went home, signed up as a distributor. And because I wasn't texting yet and there was no social media, all my contacts were basically business cards and emails. I had thousands of email addresses from people that I'd been emailing with over the years. So I went on my computer and I sent an email to over 1,000 people saying, I'm updating my contact manager. I'd love to get your mailing address. And I got 350 addresses back. And so I then put those into my Send Out Cards one at a time myself. And I typed out cards and sent them cards. I sent 350 cards in my first week doing that. 4 days later, people were calling me just to reconnect, because in the card I said, haven't heard from you in a long time. Sure would like to get caught up. Hope you're doing well. Why don't you give me a call sometime? And I put my phone number in there, sent those out. And it was a lot of work. I mean, 350 cards, that's over 100 cards, like probably 80 to 100 cards a day I was sending out, and individually. And I was paying for those. And what happened was, a few days later, my phone was ringing. And when I got on the phone with each person, we'd have a conversation for a while. And then I'd say, what do you think of this idea? There's a website where you can go to it. You can pick a card, type in a message, hit the send button. The company prints it, stuffs it in an envelope, seals it, stamps it, and sends it for you, all for about $1. And I didn't get one person that was negative. Everybody liked the idea. These are people that I knew. Everybody liked the idea, and a bunch of them wanted to sign up. So that's how I started my Send Out Cards business. So I didn't get into it initially to make a bunch of money. I got into it because I saw it as at first I saw it as something I could use, but then it was something that I saw there was a big opportunity, because I knew there would be hundreds of thousands or even millions of people that would want to use a service like this. So let's do this. Gail, just in 2 or 3 minutes, I'm going to have you unmute yourself and tell everybody why you got involved in Send Out Cards. Gail's in tech.
Awesome. Thanks, Jordan. It was 2007. I was a realtor in a BNI group, and I've been a realtor for about 3 years, just getting my business started, and went to a visitor's day for BNI. And about a week later, I got a card in the mail from someone I didn't know that I had exchanged business cards with. And so it really wowed me. It was a picture of our business card. It said, "Nothing beats a great referral." And inside, "Hey, it was nice to meet you at the BNI event in Kalamazoo. Love to get together to see how I could help you grow your business." He had a picture of his wife and his son in there at the time, and I didn't know Frank. And so what did I do? I picked up my phone and I called him and I said, "How did you do that card?" And we met for coffee. I sent a card to my husband, Steve. I went home. I researched SendOutCards. At the time, there wasn't near as much as what we can go to YouTube and Google now and look up SendOutCards. And I thought, wow, there's an opportunity. I needed a CRM, honestly, for our real estate business. And so I looked at it as a way of taking those 75 closed files, putting them in a CRM that I didn't have, and then being able to nurture relationships. So Steve and I started out entrepreneurs. Yes, we added the affiliate option right away. Because I thought, wow, if I like this, others might like it. It would offset the cost of marketing for real estate. And so that was 13 years ago. And today we for the past decade. So I was listening to something Cody said in his interview, actually with Sean and Joy, about where we're like, he was talking to a group of realtors, and what Cody said in that interview took me back to 2008 to 2011, when our real estate market was crashed and we weren't doing business. And it's kind of that way right now.
Yeah.
We're not essential. We're not doing business right now. And how Cody was telling these real estate agents that they needed to turn to their relationships. And that's what Steve and I did back from 2008 to 2011. And then since then, we've had 100% referral business by our relationships, closing an average of 40 homes a year without really even trying, Jordan. And I think that's a testament to where we are right now with this COVID-19 virus, is when we turn back to our relationships and people feel our energy, they feel our love, our trust, our help, our joy, our nurturing, our care. That's what's going to, when we come out of this, take us to that next level. And SendOutCards is that mechanism to be able to do that.
That's beautiful. Thanks. And yeah, so Gail, when we come out of this and people start buying and selling homes again, a lot of people are going to want to sell their homes when this is all over with. And there's going to be a lot of people there's going to be a lot of movement in the rental business too. You're going to be able to jump right back in, and because you have all these thousands of rock solid relationships that you've built. I'm going to ask for a few others, but I want to read a couple of these that I've just seen pop up. Let's see. Isabel Drew put, "I stumbled across SendOutCards by a networking group and saw right away how we could use it for our real estate business." So she as well is in the real estate business. Let's see. Sandy Grape, "I was handwriting thank you cards when doing Cookie Lee jewelry in 2006, probably about 100 cards. In 2009, I started with SendOutCards. I just came back to SendOutCards in March." Sandy, welcome back. By the way, happy birthday, Gail. Yeah, yesterday was Gail's birthday.
Thank you. And if any of you sent me wishes, I thank you so much. There was so much activity yesterday. I am feeling blessed and overwhelmed with love and appreciation. So I just want to say thank you to all of you that might have reached out. If I didn't respond, it's not because I don't love you. I do love you, and I appreciate you.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Yeah. All right. Hey, so how about, I'd like to hear from Max. Max, can you share your SendOutCard story, how you heard of SendOutCards and how you got involved? And why? Max?
Mute.
There you are. Hey, Max, love you, man. How are you? Look at how tan he is. Look at how tan Max is. Go ahead,
I learned
buddy.
a thing of two from you. 2008, I lost all my money pretty much trying to serve those Indians in Brazil. They didn't buy much internet. True story. So 2009, I started looking for opportunities. And after the real estate crash, nobody was investing, nobody was doing anything. And I went online, and I don't think social media was big in those days or didn't exist. I don't know. But I found something called card parties. And I love greeting cards. Since I'm a kid, I used to take greeting cards to get girls because I didn't have any more money. So I know cards work. I just chased the person that did the party and I signed up with her. SendOutCards was everything I dreamed in terms of the product, reaching out in kindness, and the residual income and the money, all that. It's a real nice bonus.
Yeah, that's great. Why are you so tan, buddy?
I just go down the building and I work from the boats.
You work on the boat?
Yeah, I live in not on the sand, but on the causeway.
Oh, okay.
So I live a walking distance from the beach, but hopefully at the end of the year, I move like going down the elevator into the sun. That's what I learned from you.
Yeah, by the way, Max, if you don't know Max, you got to know Max. He's a good guy. He's the most interesting man in SendOutCards. No, Max actually is a tennis coach. Is that right, Max?
Yes.
Are you able to do anything with that right now or no?
No.
No.
It's very difficult. Everybody is playing tennis in their garage. It's like we have crazy stories of what we are doing with the kids, hitting them the mattresses. But look, people who have it, they just find a way. It's unbelievable what parents are doing at home with their kids to get them to play tennis and what the professionals are doing to stay in shape. It's,
yeah, I was thinking, you know, something I was thinking about is, you know, all the shows, of course, are closed up in Las Vegas. And there's those Cirque shows where those guys have to be like razor's edge. One mistake and multiple people could die in those shows. And now they're going to be off for at least a couple of months, maybe more. And then they're going to be going back to their acts. And I actually messaged a couple of them that are friends of mine to find out, you know, what do they do? Because they can't just go right back into the show. You know, their eating habits change, you know, they're training, but it's not the same as being on the wires or on the ropes or whatever they're doing every day, you know?
It's the nerves.
Yeah.
It's the nerves. He is there, but it's the nerves, you know, the things that can go wrong in an audience, the lighting, whatever. When you are in your game, nothing gets you off.
Yeah.
But until you get back, anything can get you off. That's the difficult part.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Max.
So we got it easy here.
Yeah. Ray Rita, my buddy Ray. Now check this out. Of all of you, and some of you I've known for a very, very long time, including Judy O'Higgins. Of all of you, I've known Ray the longest. Ray, I met my first roommate when I moved to Arizona in 1981 was Ray's brother. And you might have heard the story of me sleeping on the floor in a condo on Southern and Dobson in Mesa, Arizona. That was on David's mother's condo's floor. For 2 years, I didn't have a bed. And I slept on his brother's floor. Brother's mom, his mom's condo, Ray's mom's condo. And so we met, you know, in family gatherings and things like that. And Ray is in the hair business in Chicago. So, hey, Ray, share with everybody how you heard about SendOutCards and how you got started.
Yeah, probably, thanks, Jordan. Probably around 8-9 years ago, in the mail, I received the Beach Money book. And, you know, I remember Jordan's name. I'm like thinking, how did I get this book? And my brother sent it to me. He goes, remember Jordan? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I'll read his book. So I read his book. And I'm like, this is the neatest thing I've ever seen. So I got on the phone with Jordan. He explained the whole system to me for Beach Money and SendOutCards. I'm like, it clicked so fast with me how this could help my business. You know, being a hairstylist, you know, I have direct contact with people, you know, as far as, you know, in my chair, so personable. I'm like, how cool is this if I can start sending cards out to my clients, you know, whether it's a before and after, an after picture, a special event. And it clicked so good with me and my clients. It was awesome. So as I started sending cards out, my clientele increased so much. And not just within myself, but within the whole salon, because I started sending cards out to everyone within my salon. And it was building up the salon business at the time. And I was also a disc jockey at the time too. So I'm like thinking, how cool would it be if I could start sending cards out to now all the weddings I'm doing? So I would take pictures of, we'll say, the first dance and throughout the evening of the wedding. And now this is increasing my DJ business. And it was just funny. I tell this story a lot. I haven't DJ probably in 4 or 5 years now. I still get phone calls for people looking for me to DJ their wedding because when they received that card from me, they kept that card. And it was amazing how they either have it framed in their house or they look back through all their pictures and stuff. And I still get referrals for DJing 4 or 5 years ago because of the card. So for me, it just helped me out so much grow my businesses.
That's awesome. Hey, Ray, so I have a
Great.
question. That's great. I have a question for you, Ray. So, because you knew me, you are the only person of these 118 people, you're the only person that knew me before network marketing. Well, you knew me before I'd ever sponsored a single person. You're the only
Correct.
person, right? So is there anything, and you can say you don't remember anything, that's fine. I'm just curious, is there anything you remember about me, just curious, before I ever had made a penny in network marketing? Is there anything you remember from the past?
Well, I just remember I used to spend my summers in Arizona. I live in Chicago, and I would spend my summers there. And I always remember going to Arizona, and Jordan always had a guitar. So I always go into my brother's house or at my brother's house, and Jordan would come out of his room and he would just play guitar for us. So that's the story I always remember Jordan with the guitar. You still have the guitar, you said, right?
I do.
You used to play?
Yeah, it's actually in Mount Charleston. It's not here, but I still have that original guitar from the 70s. Yeah. Yeah.
So he was always real quiet, not like you see him now, but it was a real quiet guy and just played guitar.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, one convention, I don't know if you know this, Ray, but one convention before you got involved in SendOutCards, we had a lot of people there, and I actually had David call in, and we put it on the speaker system. Did you hear about that?
I did, yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he told the story about, me sleeping on your mom's condo's floor for 2 years, and how he knocked on my door. He knocked on my door one morning on a Sunday morning. I was sleeping, and we had probably been out the night before partying or something, but he knocks on my door, and I go, "What?" And he opens the door, and I'm sleeping in the corner. I got my little pillow and blanket sleeping in the corner on the floor, not even a mattress. It had been 2 years. And he said, he goes, "Jordan, you got to get a bed." That was the only thing he said. He goes, "Jordan, you got to get a bed." And so David, actually, your brother, Ray, co-signed on my very first loan in my life. And I actually financed my first bed. And the payments were $26 a month. And Ray's brother co-signed on that loan. Is that crazy?
But just so everyone knows, Dave takes credit for Jordan's success right now for how he knew him 35 years ago. I hear it all the time from my brother. So he always tell Jordan that it's because of me he is where he is right now.
In fact, David was mad at me for years because he said I didn't put him in the book, Beach Money. And you know what? The whole time he was in the book. He was in the book.
He's in the front credits, I believe.
He's in the credits. Yep. And I think I thanked him in the book for financing my bed. I think that's what I do in the book, if I'm not mistaken, or co-signing on my first loan is, I think, what I said in the book. So, yeah. So Jeff Romaldi, thank you, Ray. I appreciate that. That was great. Jeff Romaldi, would you mind sharing how and why you got involved in SendOutCards? And you can
not at all.
You can use names, everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Happy birthday, Gail.
Before we do this, Jeff, how many affiliates are you signing up? How many affiliates and customers are you signing up a week right now?
I'm probably averaging about three or four.
3 or 4 a week.
3
or 4 a week.
Yeah. I mean, it comes in not on average.
On average, right.
Comes in blocks.
Yeah. So tell us your story, how you got involved, why and how you got involved in SendOutCards. And then I have a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back in 2012, I was in another opportunity, and I met a gentleman at Panera Bread and presented the opportunity, and he never got involved, but he sent me a card for meeting with him. And I thought it was really cool. So I called him up, and we got together because I wanted to know how to make these cards. And he showed me, but he had this crazy computer that didn't work very well. So it seemed kind of complicated when he was showing me, but I had the bigger picture. I saw that. and how it could help me with my business and just, you know, stay in contact with family and friends and stuff like that. And so I called him, or so after I met with him, I guess about a week later, I decided I wanted to join. So I called him about, I don't know, 5 or 6 times, and he never called me back. So
There's a lesson there. There's a lesson, everyone. Keep going.
so I can't even remember his name. He was a real nice guy, but anyway, so I even offered him, I remember one of the phone calls, I left a voicemail for him. I said I wanted to join, and, you know, I'll take him out to lunch and whatever. I was kind of giving him a bribe because I didn't know where else to go to sign up. And, and I wanted to give him credit, you know, if he was the one, since he was the one that introduced it to me. So, but he never called me back. So somehow or other, I don't remember how, I tracked you down, Jordan, and we talked, and I was going to sign up, but then shortly thereafter, I found out that Eric Worre, you had sponsored Eric Worre. So I knew enough about network marketing to know that, you know, 2 people at the top of their game were better than 1. I'd have 2 people to do 3-way phone calls with, you know, if I could come in under Eric Worre. So I called you up and asked you for your permission. And you said, yeah, you understood my logic, I guess. And you said, sure. So I signed up under Eric Worre. And at that time, I was just signing up to be a customer, as I told you in the beginning, just to use it to build my business, etc. And so you said, yeah, that's fine. So I signed up under Eric. I had 1 phone call with Eric. And then like in the next week or 2, I found out that Eric didn't want to be involved in network marketing anymore. He loved SendOutCards, but because he was starting up his new venture and Go Pro, and he didn't want a conflict of interest to be occurring there. And so that was it. So I used it as SendOutCards as a customer so that was 2012, I guess, and just absolutely loved it, knew the value of it. Got a lot of benefit in a lot of ways from it, including, you know, meeting a lot of people that I'm talking to now. And then for a variety of reasons, I left my other opportunity, and I have some chronic back problems, so that held me up for a couple of years. I couldn't do much. I couldn't get around too good, and, you know, I knew building a business required, you know, before Zoom and stuff required, you know, getting around and everything. I couldn't do that very well. But about 10 months ago or so, things changed in my life, and I decided I wanted to get involved in SendOutCards. And then in December, I started actually working the business. And I guess I have about 40 some customers now, and maybe 7 or 8 affiliates, I guess, somewhere in there. Some of those customers I got a little bit before December, but it's going real well.
Oh, that's from
I love
December.
business.
From December to March. That's not too bad. 7 or 8 affiliates, and how many customers?
Probably of the 40 some that I have, I guess probably 25 of them, I guess, were since then, somewhere in there, 22, okay. 25.
And what would you, in a nutshell, just one thing, if you were to distill it down to one thing, what is your secret sauce?
Following up with the people that I make contact with.
So what Jeff is really good at,
over and over again in a really low key way. Yeah. And then after that, having a little conversation with them about, you know, if they're interested, I just kind of talk to them a little bit about, you know, what they want in their life. And I let them talk. And if you think about it, when people start talking to you about what they want, you know, they're basically telling you their goals. You know, people go to weekend seminars about their goals, but, you know, have a little conversation with them about, I like to ask the question, if time, money, and health, you know, weren't a problem for you. In other words, you had all 3, no problem. What would your life look like? And I like to let them talk, because what they tell you right there is exactly what their goals are. So then I might ask them a question like, you know, hey, would you mind if I share something with you just to get your thoughts on it? You know, a little business idea. And I sent them a business card, or it's called a lifestyle card, where it takes them 30 seconds to read it. That kind of tells them how they can have a better life without selling and bugging their friends and taking a lot of time. Most of these people have already gotten the card, so they're like, interesting. Don't have to sell. It doesn't take a lot of time. I love the card. I want to hear more. And it sort of evolves from there.
Yeah, Jeff. So one more thing, and then then we're going to move to the next. You've been promoting to your new affiliates a book, actually an audio of a book. What can you recommend that book to everybody?
Sure. Yeah, I have it right here somewhere. I'll actually show you. This is the book. It's called Own Your Life by Don Fala. This book right here, I hear a lot about everybody claiming they have the best-selling book in network marketing. I think he sold, it's been 35 years or 37 years since Don Fala wrote that book. And it's been like 9 million copies of that book floating around.
So he's probably
and,
number one, more than Eric. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure, all over.
Wow.
But basically, I promote the book because it's a generic book. It doesn't promote any specific company or anything like that. But that little thing that I just told you about, talking to people about what they want, that's his whole thing. And what this book says is find out what people want, because although SendOutCards is absolutely incredible, no question about it. Of anything I've ever seen out there, I mean, it's just, I never sent anybody a card that didn't like the card. They called me back and said, please don't ever do that again. I mean, everybody
Right.
likes SendOutCards. But even more than SendOutCards, I think 95% of the people out there, I mean, think about it. They don't, most people don't know one person who has time, money, and health at a time in their life when they can enjoy it with the people that they love. The people are young and they might have a little money, but they don't have any time. You get older, you have lots of time, you're running out of money, your health's getting shot. So wouldn't it be nice to have all three things at a time in life when you can enjoy it? And that's what that book talks about. And then it gives the mechanics of network marketing so that they understand network marketing. And once they understand network marketing, as many of you know, there's really nothing else. Nothing else matters after that. Once they understand it's not a pyramid and they don't have to sell if they don't want to in the traditional sense of selling and all that. Now they're really interested, and it gives them a foundation. And when their brother-in-law tells them that it's that one of those things or something, now they have the confidence to say, no, it's not. And they stick with the business long enough to succeed. So that's why I like the book in combination with the cards.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. That was really fantastic. Appreciate that. So
Oh,
just to be
thank you,
clear,
George.
yeah, just to be clear, Eric Worre, he worked SendOutCards for a year. He's no longer a SendOutCards active distributor affiliate because he decided that he was going to start. That was the last network marketing company that he ever did. He did many over the years. And he decided he was going to run a generic network marketing training company and couldn't be involved in any company at all. And so SendOutCards, so Jeff and his team are a offshoot of Eric that started. And that's a powerful concept if you think about it. And there's so many stories in this group, just in this little group of 125 people, there are so many stories of the leverage that comes as a result of what you start. So for example, Gail, who spoke to you earlier just a few minutes ago, I didn't bring her into SendOutCards, and she's built a group of thousands of people. I brought in a guy who, for all practical purposes, quit. He still gets a check. He still pays his renewal, but he hasn't done anything in over 10 years, probably 12 years. He hasn't done anything. He brought Gail in. One of the only people that he brought in was Gail. He brought in his sister and Gail and maybe one or two others, but not many more. And then Gail brought Chip in. And I didn't know Chip, and Chip has put on hundreds of customers and has a group that's growing. And so that's the leverage, the benefit that, that freedom framed thing that's a gift in the SendOutCards gifting program. That's really a perfect example. Like you'll bring somebody in and they may not do much, but they'll do a little, and maybe they'll sponsor somebody that'll be like a Chip or a Gail or a Brian or a Cheryl or a Darla or a Jeff or whoever. I could name so many of you that are actively engaged. In fact, many of you, the reason you're here this morning is because you're engaged in SendOutCards. You're building a SendOutCards business. And this is just a tiny sliver of the people. You're the ones that were available this morning. You were the ones that felt like you wanted to spend an hour with me and some other people. And I wish there's so many of you I would love to call on. I want to hear for a couple minutes from Brian. And I just like Brian Perez, if you wouldn't mind just sharing, not so much how you got started, but if you wouldn't mind sharing in your mind, what makes SendOutCards such a powerful mission, tool, etc. Brian Perez, are you there?
Hey, George. Good morning, everyone.
There you are.
Happy belated birthday, Gail. I want to be just like you 10 years from now. I'll be 50 in a couple months. Well, actually, the way I got involved with Send Out Cards was through Gary Allen. And I want to share a story with you guys that's actually pretty freaking cool. So, Jordan, we always talk about setting the law of attraction in motion by sending out cards.
Yeah.
So, our youngest son, Grant, he's been wanting a dog. And we're in the process of moving here within the next couple of months, and he's been wanting a Rottweiler and a pit bull, and we're like, we really don't want to get him a Rottweiler or a pit bull. They just shed, and the some HOAs have a problem with those type of dogs. So I met a girl about 5 months ago through BNI, and she's a realtor, and she ends up moving to Tennessee. But we stay connected on Facebook, and I've been sending her cards. So about a month ago, she posted a picture with all these cool dogs and a video attached to it. And there was somebody who was tagged in it, this girl named Jessica, who's actually the breeder in Tennessee of these Vizslas right here. That's a Vizsla.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, so I started inquiring about this dog here. And I was like, man, that's a pretty cool dog. They don't shed much. The males only grow to about 45 to 55 pounds. They're athletic, and they're just very cool dogs. And so she put me in contact with the breeder. Her name is Jessica. She's in Tennessee. So they had one male left out of the whole litter. And it just so happened, like right around when the whole 2.5 weeks ago, when the whole COVID stuff started happening, I was like, the timing is just not right. So I went ahead and asked her for pictures. She'd like, go on my Facebook page and check out the pictures. So I went ahead and sent her a card like this, like I sent our son Grant. And I just said in the card, Jessica, thank you so much for educating me on Vizslas. Unfortunately, this one is not going to work. I trust he went to a good home. Please keep me posted on your next litter, which she did. And yesterday, I get a text from her. And the reason I'm sharing this with you guys, because, this is what we do. This is the power of this system. It allows us to build relationships online, especially in a time like this. So she sent me a text yesterday that says, thank you so much for the card. That was so thoughtful. That puppy does have a wonderful home and a little boy to grow up with. Thank you again. And I said, good morning. My pleasure. Funny story. Yesterday on my morning walk, true story, yesterday on my morning walk, about 30 minutes from where I live, I saw a guy walking a Vizsla. I've never seen a Vizsla in person before. The law of attraction, right?
Yeah.
First time I've seen one in person, I think that was a sign. Enjoy yourself and your family during this crazy time. She's like, that is crazy. Thank you again, and stay safe and healthy. So this morning, I texted her, and it was funny because I was listening to one of your YouTube videos, Jordan. If you guys are not, if you guys don't know about Jordan's YouTube channel, Jordan Dream On. Just so much great information in there. Thank you for that, Jordan. And I went ahead and texted her. I'm like, good morning, Jessica. I would like to invite you to view a video on how I sent you that card from my phone. Not sure if you would want to do that for your customers. I'm giving her a way out. Are you open to taking a look? She texts me back. She's like, I would love to. Thanks. And then I text her Callie's video, the 12-minute Send Out Cards presentation, the YouTube version. And I said, I would love to get your feedback after you watch this. And she's like, great, I will do that.
Love
That's
it.
it.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks, Brian. So just to trace back, as you kind of explained the story, what was the connection to the story and BNI again?
Yeah, so I met Jill through BNI. We connected on Facebook. She was a realtor in one of our local chapters.
Gotcha.
And then she ended up moving to Tennessee about a month ago.
Okay.
Yep.
So check this out, you guys. It kind of dawned on me, and some of you have heard this before, but still, it's just such a powerful thing. If you have a company and you have a customer that brings you thousands and thousands and thousands of customers, that would be a pretty valuable customer, wouldn't you say? So if you had a business and you had a customer that brought you thousands and thousands and thousands of customers, that would be a pretty valuable customer. you know, Brian's telling the story about how he met this woman through BNI, and it just hit me that, you know, as you're reading the comments in the chat, how many people mention BNI and how many people say, I heard about SendOutCards through BNI, and how many people are part of BNI. We are one of the most valuable customers, if not the most valuable customer, that the largest networking organization in the world, BNI, has ever had in their almost 40-year history. We're probably the most valuable customer they've ever had. We've brought them more business than any other customer. We've put more people into chapters than any other customer, which is you can be proud of that. And that's one of the reasons why Dr. Ivan Meisner and Graham talks about us so much, is because, you know, we're a good customer of theirs. Now check this out. Prior to this transition that we all have recently gone through, in BNI, Zoom was a company that was probably used by a few people, but not a lot, a sliver of the people from BNI. But in just a matter of less than 3 weeks, probably about 3 weeks, BNI has become Zoom's biggest customer. Of all the customers in the world, BNI has 10,000 chapters worldwide using Zoom. 10,000 chapters. And then you have the members in the chapters. So 200,000 plus people are using Zoom through BNI every week. And so now, what does that mean? That happened in 3 weeks. The same thing could happen with SendOutCards. Especially, we see it trending up in a big way. Greg, I see Greg Breyer. Greg, good to see you on. Greg Breyers is on with us, our CEO. Good to see you, Greg. But in 3 weeks, BNI became Zoom's biggest customer. We, at one point, back starting in 2004 through 2010, we became BNI's biggest customer. And because of this transition, and the curve is going upwards, it's very possible that over the next few weeks, few months, there will be companies and individuals that will join SendOutCards that will explode this company. But the only people do you see that, Brian? Do you see that? What I'm saying? Yeah, the only people that will benefit from that are the ones that are engaged. And I'm happy to say that many people that haven't been engaged in years because they didn't have the time, because they were busy with their other businesses or their job, and those jobs and businesses aren't there right now, so they're getting engaged because in a lot of cases, this is all they got. But that's a good thing for them, because if they didn't have it, a lot of them wouldn't know what they'd be doing. So we're going to wrap up here in a few minutes, but I'd like to, if there's anybody.
Hey, George, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, absolutely, Brian, jump in.
No, what you just said, it's really what McDonald's did. It's about the distribution.
No question. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, you know, McDonald's, the reason they sell, when they launch a product, you know, they sell the most of it because they've already built a network of people who love their brand, who love their product. And the same thing with what you said about Zoom, about BNI. BNI already has a network, and Zoom just happens to be a product that's being consumed by that network.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, I had a Big Mac attack 2 nights ago, and I went down, I drove 20 minutes down the mountain to get to the McDonald's so I could get a Big Mac, and ate it in the parking lot. I'm just going to say it. I did it. I know it. It's now it's, you know, what's interesting? This is really interesting because I used to do this all the time. It's hilarious. With a crowd of people, 100 people, 200 people, 500 people, it didn't matter. I'd say, how many of you ate McDonald's in the last 24 hours? And no one would raise their hand. Nobody. But what's interesting is that McDonald's is the most visited, or whatever you want to call it, restaurant of all restaurants. In other words, more people go to McDonald's than any other restaurant in the world, right? And not one person in any crowd will ever admit that they went to McDonald's. I know they did, but no one will admit it in a crowd. probably a third of the crowd, no, probably 20% of the crowd went to McDonald's in the last 24 hours, but not one person in the crowd will admit that they went, which is really hilarious. So Brian, I know you were there. You were there last night, weren't you?
No, you know what? They actually had an egg white delight McMuffin that they took off their menu, and we used to go there for that. But once they took it out, we were like, "We're out. We're done."
It was too healthy.
You're right.
What's the point?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we're going to wrap up with this. We got about 10 minutes before we wrap things up. Everybody cheers to coffee. Who's got coffee? Hold your coffee up. All right. Awesome, man. Awesome. Okay. I don't know how this is going to go, but we'll try it. Does anybody have a question that they want to drop into the chat? I'm just going to look in here and see if there's anybody that has any specific questions. Not sure I'm going to be able to get to everybody's question, but if you have one, drop it in there. Cool. Lachelle, thank you for that. Gail, thanks for that. I appreciate that. Anybody have any questions that you want to drop into the chat? Yes, I'll give you my address. Super Muscle, whoever you are. My address is P.O. Box 35336. P.O. Box 35336, Phoenix, Arizona 85069. P.O. Box 35336.
So I'm outside. Can you put that on the chat? Because I can't.
Yes.
Do you mind? Or you have a Facebook, so you can message me on Facebook.
Hey, are you Super Muscle? Are you Super Muscle?
Yeah, I'm the Super Muscle.
All right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I am. Yeah.
Where are you? Are you in Hawaii? Where are you, did you say?
I'm Rada's best friend, Rara, Catherine.
Oh, you're up in Canada.
Yeah, I'm Vancouver. I'm from Vancouver.
Okay. Super Muscle.
I wish I'm in Hawaii, though.
What's that?
I wish I'm in Hawaii, but I'm okay with that.
It looks pretty nice there where you are. That's not a green screen behind you, is it?
Well, there's a lot more going on here nature-wise. It's like heaven. Wish
Yeah.
I can turn my. Oh, okay. I'll show you this. This is what I'm looking at now.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't suck.
Yeah. Anyway, Catherine just signed me up a SendOutCards, so I want to kind of mail my first card to you. So it'd be great if you can send in my address so I can get that on.
If you can find it, I dropped it. Oh, I just sent it to Vicky. I sent it to Vicky Montgomery by mistake. Hold on. I'm going to cut and paste it. Sorry, Vicky. You got my address. I don't know how that happened, but somehow I sent it to Vicky Montgomery. All right. I'm putting it in there right now. Okay. There you go.
Well, that's your subconscious.
Everybody's got it.
Yay.
All right. Hey, thanks, Super Muscle. Good to meet you.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions? Any questions? Everybody's saying hi to you, Super Muscle, in the chat.
Oh, sorry. I got to mute myself. Oops.
Yep. Okay. Somebody's going to go get a hot fudge sundae at McDonald's today. Sock part. I saw that, Julie. I saw that, but I'm not exactly sure. So Julie Gluth, who's one of our senior managers in the official group, said she's looking for help with Sock Facebook party logistics. And I'm not exactly sure what you're asking there, but she put that in the Facebook group. So if anybody can help her with that, that would be really nice. Make it up, Julie. You're good at that. We just make up our stuff anyway, right? I would like no recommendation. One cent card. How long would? Oh, good. This is a good question. Oh, this is a great question. Cheryl. Who is that? Which Cheryl? Hey, whoever the Cheryl is that asked, I'd like to know your recommendation once you send a card. How long would you recommend? Could you unmute yourself? Whoever that is, that Cheryl. There's a few Cheryls on here.
Hey, Jordan, it's me.
Oh, hi. How are you?
I'm good.
Cheryl, the one that has like 8 different last names.
8 names.
Yeah.
Yes, lots of husbands.
All right. Well, hey, so ask the question so everybody can hear it that you're asking.
Okay, I'm wondering, when I send somebody a card, I'd like to introduce them to SendOutCards, but I'm wondering, I don't want to back it up 3 days later with, oh, by the way, here's, I'd like to teach you about SendOutCards. Would you wait 2 weeks or a month, or what is your recommendation for how long? So it doesn't just seem so salesy, that you just send a card so you can. Okay.
Great question. So I'm going to ask Judy O'Higgins to address that question. And I'll tell you why. Judy is almost an Eagle. She's on her way to Eagle. She's a senior executive, very close. And she's got a very large team that's growing. In fact, she'll tell you how many people have joined her team in the past couple of weeks. I'd love for her to share that. Judy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
There you are. You know, do you know Cheryl?
No. Hi, Cheryl. As of last night, we had 87 new people on our team since this whole promotion thing started.
That's really exciting. Super cool.
I know.
Judy, I
I
just
know.
love you so much. You're just over the hill.
Yes, well, wait a minute.
Well, I didn't mean it that way. We're both on this mountain and there, Judy's on the other side. Oh, I didn't mean it that way. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
All right. I'll shut up. Do you have an answer for Cheryl?
I forgot the question. It's something about follow-up, right?
She's basically
About
saying,
follow-up.
yeah, how long should she wait after sending a personal card to send a card about or to follow up as far about the business? Like, and that's a mindset shift.
To me, there's not one answer to that. It depends on the relationship you have with the person. You know, like when you sent me my first card, you didn't even wait till I got it. You called me before I even received the card, and I was happy to speak to you. And you said, quote unquote, I found this little company and nobody's ever heard of it, but I think it's going to be big. And I said, what is it? And you proceeded to walk me through, and I signed up on the spot. That's because we had a relationship, trust, and you know, I was right there with you. If Jordan says this is going to be big, it's going to be big. I'm in. But it just depends on the person. And so I know that's not a great answer, but
is there something that somebody, like in terms of mindset, in terms of approach, in terms of mindset, in terms of action, what can somebody do to make that transition comfortable? So it's not awkward. What makes it awkward?
Oh, I have an answer.
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Love their DNA.
Love their DNA?
Yeah.
I kind of get what you're saying. Explain in a little more detail.
Well, we all DNA, so we are extremely special human being. There's nobody like you or me. There's none. Entire planet, right?
Right.
So we survive this planet with our DNA, which imprinted our genetic expression. Plus, if you add a layer of generational trauma that passes on to your karmic stuff, we are extraordinary human being, right? So if you find a way that person figure out their DNA, which I highly recommend the modality called the human design.
Uh-huh.
So it talks about who you are. It talks about why you do this. It talks about your behavior pattern. It talks about your karma. It talks about your generational trauma, everything. So far I find the best knowledge that I came across, that it tells you who you are in a DNA level.
I love that. So basically what you're saying is if when you're in perfect alignment with somebody's energy,
energy is one of them. Energy is one of the elements. So
yeah,
you want to connect each element. Yeah.
I love that, man. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, Judy O'Higgins. So Judy O'Higgins.
One more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just one more thing. Somebody said something similar earlier, but most of the people that I, well, I don't meet in person anymore, but that I interact with are business people. And so I just ask them a simple question after they've got the card. And the simple question is something like, could you see yourself using this to thank your customers in your business? And then shut up and listen. And if there's any kind of positive response, then you just take it to the next step. Don't like overwhelm them, just the next step. You know, would you like to see how it works? And then thank God for Zoom. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, just jump on a Zoom with them. Cheryl, yeah, and also if you go back and listen to the workshop that I did yesterday, workshop number 4, I give those two text messages on. I said texting examples are those are really non-threatening and very gentle, and they give people an out. And as long as you're very try to do your very best to align with them, so that you're only texting them if it's the right time. And you know if it's the right time or the wrong time. If it feels awkward to you, it's going to feel awkward to them. If it feels natural to you, then it's going to feel natural to them. So just keep that in mind. So, All right. Well, hey, this is an hour with Jordan. If you enjoyed it, let me know, and we can do it again. Maybe it becomes a Sunday thing. Who knows? But I really thank you, Judy, and Jeff, and Brian, and everybody else. Thanks for being part of this. And you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. All right. Love you all. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
You guys.
See you later.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Everyone. Idaho. Ohio.
Thanks, Jordan.
Bye.
Bye,
Thanks.
everybody.
Thank you, Jordan. We had a good time.
Thanks, Jordan. Awesome
Bye.
call.
Thanks, Jordan. Thank you.
Thank you.